So this is my desk, and over the past couple years I've amassed quite an unreasonable amount of stationery that I've had to store here. So I thought I'd take you guys along with me today and show you how I store my stationery. That way you guys can also get inspiration if you're having trouble finding places to put all your pens. If you're new to my channel, the reason I have stationery in the first place is because I like to create in my bullet journal and for scrapbooking, pen pals, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, make sure to go hit that little subscribe button down below. Alright, so let's get on with the video. So first, let's start with my actual desk. Now, I usually like my desk pretty clean and simple because I don't want anything in my way, but there are a few things that I like to keep on the corner here. Starting with a simple lamp, pretty self-explanatory. And then I have my plant Luca, who has made an appearance in a couple videos so far. So in this jar is where I hold all of my markers that I'm using for my current bullet journal theme. Now, I currently have two different sets in here. There are some markers that I used for my September theme and then markers that I used for my August theme. But these are basically the markers that I use when I make weekly spreads to match the theme, and I like to have them on hand close by. Then over here is my essentials box, and in here is where I keep all of the supplies that I use on the daily, no matter what theme it's in. I have the Pigra Micron in the size 05. I have some Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens and this Fude Touch brush pen, and a couple other things like normal fine liners, Sharpies, brush pens, pencils, basically anything that I'll use to make a normal weekly spread or just during the week. And then down here is just a clipboard, mostly for aesthetic purposes, but also who has a miniature clipboard in their life? Not many people, and I'd like to be one of those people. But also just looks cute at my desk, and I don't want my desk to look ugly, so I put it there under my pens. So now let's talk about where I store the majority of my pens and markers and other art supplies, and that is in this art cart. I found that I have no room on my desk for all this stuff, and so it's easy to put it in a portable cart that I can move around, but also have room for all my bullet journaling supplies. So here's where the bulk of my pens belong, on the top shelf of my art cart. Now, I store some of these upside down because I heard that when storing pens vertically, it's best to put the nib downwards, that way the ink flows towards the nib and it's easier to use. However, there are some logistics that I'll explain as to why some of them are the normal way up. Anyway, in this back box, they are my Crayola Super Tips, which I don't use very often, but they're good for coloring in general spaces. Then, in this huge cart are my extremely tall Tombow brush pens, and these are my most used stationery tool that I use in my bullet journal. The reason I'm not storing these upside down is because the back of these pens are black, and so if I wanted to see what color the pen was, you could only tell by that little strip, and I like to make them more accessible to me. So I keep them facing up, but I haven't had any problems with them running out of ink so far, so it's not a problem. In this section is where I store a humble jumble of all of my gel pens. We have these ones, which are from Papermate, that I'm sure you've used in school before. There are these ones that are from Stabilo, but I don't use these very much in my bullet journal. These are more for school notes, and in fact, I amassed a lot of these before I even started bullet journaling, which is why there's not a huge collection of each brand. Now in the front are all of my alsoooo alcohol markers, and let me tell you, I have a lot of them because they're not too expensive and they come in large packs, and that's basically all I asked for my last birthday. In order to make more sense of them, I organized them by color, but if you want to see a more in-depth tool of what I think of alcohol markers and how I use them in my bullet journal, check this video on the screen that's also going to be linked down below. Then lastly, in this little section right here, I couldn't fit much else except for like rulers, and so I have a couple down here that I use occasionally when I'm making bullet journal spreads, so that becomes really helpful. So now we're down to the second tier of my art cart, and this is where I store some of my less used things. So here is obviously my washi tape. My washi tape section that I actually use all the time, but it's very accessible. This is also ordered in rainbow order, so we have the pinks to the greens, then the cool colors over here, then we have lots of neutral whites, browns, and there's some black ones that are slightly out of view by the camera. If you'd like a full washi tape tour, I'm thinking about making one of those in the future, but I have some of my most commonly used brands linked down below if you're interested in getting some more washi tape. Now over here on this side is where I keep a lot of extra paper. This particular pad has a lot of different colors, as you can see on the cover, and it's really helpful for pen pals. Then in here is just some extra storage. So these are all the swatches from the alsoooo markers, and then these are just some random index cards and some envelopes I also use while pen paling. Now I'm going to take out this and show you the other half of this section of my cart. Now these pens I barely even use because all of my most used pens are either on the top row or on my desk, my essentials bucket, but I did want to talk talk about some of these. So these are all the zebra mild liners, which I love. They also have a brush tip and a super fine tip, and they're just super easy to use. Down under these, I also have my coloring brush pens from Sakura. These are just a set of different shades of gray. Get the pun. I don't use these very often, but they're there if I need them. Down here, I also have some white gel pens. These are from Uniball and the ones that I use most often. And then I also have this acrylograph white pen, which absolutely sucks. I hate to harp on Archer and Olive like this because their journals are amazing, but everyone's been telling me to get the white acrylograph gel pen, and I did not like it at all. It's supposed to be acrylic paint, but it just blends right into water-based pens, and so it's pointless. And then under here, I also have some pencils, but y'all all know what a pencil looks like. In this section is where I keep some Sharpie highlighters that I used to use for school. And then here are like extra dupes and supplies if I need a double of what's already up on my desk. So, you know, Tombow Fudenosuke pens, brush pens, Sharpies, fine liners, apparently, Expo markers, all the things. So now we're down to the last tier of my art cart, which is where I hold all of the stuff that I actually never touch. Now my tripod doesn't actually go this low, so I'm holding the camera with, so if it's a little shaky, I'm sorry. In this main section is where I hold all the basic junk like scotch tape, glue sticks, more tape, staples, and clips to hold my bullet journal open. Down there is some lead, and then over on the side I have liquid glue, erasers, sticky notes, and a huge thing of scissors. Moving this section out of the way, down here I also hold a couple watercolor sets because I used to be really big into painting. I actually really hate painting now, so I never touch these anymore, but my sister uses them, so they're here for her. I also have some colored pencils and graphite pencils because that was another phase of art that I used to be into, was realistic drawing with colored pencils. If you want to see some of the pictures and art that I used to make with these, I'll put a couple here on the screen, but I can also do a full sketchbook tour if you guys are interested in that. So comment down below if you want to see something like that. The last thing down here is my big box of alphabet stamps, which I use all the time, and some ink pads that are also turned upside down so the ink can flow down to the part that you stamp on, if that makes sense, the little squishy part. And then of course some scotch tape because we all need some scotch tape in our lives. So yeah, that was the art cart in its entirety, all the things that I hold on there. But I do have some more non-marker and pen related things I'd like to show you guys. So let's move on to what's stored in my desk. Oh my gosh, why did I choose to film down here? Let's pretend y'all don't see the trash can in the corner and the dirty floors that I definitely should have vacuumed but didn't before I filmed this video. So similarly to my art cart, my desk has 3 sections in it, one down there that you can't see. And this is where I hold all of my big clunky things like books and paper stationery and sketchbooks, that sort of thing. So the first shelf is where I hold my most accessible things. So this right here is my current bullet journal, and under it is the old bullet journal that I used for the beginnings of 2020. I know you guys have seen these before, you know what they look like, you're very familiar with these guys. Now under here is where I have the box that holds the bullet journal that I've already purchased for 2022. Here, I'll let you guys have a peek. Ready? You see in there? Yeah? You see the theme? Yep. Okay, there's the cover if you guys saw anything. And then the last thing in this little section is the sketchbook that I have a lot of my alcohol marker based stuff in, that again, if you guys want, I can show you guys a tour of in a future video. The next thing in this section that's a little less important are these 2 journals, which are future Christmas gifts that I'm working on for some family members, so we won't look through that right now. Then also some earbuds and AirPods that I like to use when journaling. Can we please take a moment for the forgotten S on this case? It's just BT. Hannah, if you're watching this, there's a kicker for you. And then in this little bag back here, if it'll focus, is a place that I put some extra wires and headphones and things that I like to bring when traveling. Now, these next sections are a little harder to film because they're big clunky boxes and this is a really weird angle. So I'm gonna go back to the top of my desk and I'll show you what's in each of these containers. So the first thing I have in these 3 sections are these 3 boxes which hold a lot of paper stationery. This box is where I hold all of my sticker sheets that I have. So I have a lot of stuff in here from different shops that I've bought from, like Bucket of Stickers, Lollipop Studios, my own personal shop, Peppercut Studio, Duck Bubble Designs, this one was gifted to me, and a lot of other random sticker sheets. And then moving on to this next box, which is more of the physical die cut stickers. So I have a lot of random stuff in here from my personal shop when I miscut things, and so these are washi tape strips that I'm just keeping because I can't sell them. This one from Peach Thief Studios, a couple things that have been gifted to me in pen pals, basically just a lot of random stickers stickers that I use in my bullet journal spreads when I'm scrapbooking or making pen pals for other people. And then this last box is where more of my paper goods are held. I have just a lot of random scrap paper like this one, which I used in my September bullet journal setup, some other random stickers, some vintage paper that I can use when scrapbooking, washi tape samples that I get in pen pals, and also this adorable Mimo pad that I got from PhD Studios. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Look at the little bear. So I reference these a lot when I'm layering, but again, they're out of sight so they don't clutter my desk. And then this huge box is where I hold all of my stuff for my Etsy shop when I'm packaging orders. I have a lot of freebies and sticker sets in here, like the Poppy stickers, the Happy Birthday stickers, the nymphs are back there. In this box I hold more of the packaging things like stamps, stickers for closing, the Please Don't Bend stickers that I put on my letters, of course my envelopes, some random sticker sheets that I have and close by here, although I need to print more because this is not going to last me very long. My Etsy shop is linked in the description, by the way, if you're interested in any of this. And then lastly, just some more packaging things like little bags and tissue paper. At the very bottom shelf, I have two large boxes, this being one of them, which I think is actually really cool because it looks like a big book, but it's actually a box. In here I have some random pictures I'm not going to show you because I have my face on them, but I have pictures that I've taken with some of my friends that I might want to use in future spreads or gifts or something, so I have a box of them. And then I also have old pen pals in here and different goodies, which I think are so cute. Thank you to anyone who pen pals with me, by the way. I love receiving your letters and sending one back. And if you watching want a pen pal with me, I do have a form that you can fill out. It's linked down below in the description box, so if you do want to pen pal with me, you can just use that, fill out the form, and I'll contact you if I want a pen pal. The very last box, which is huge and takes up the entire camera space, is this one right here. This holds a lot of random junk, like sticker paper, my old bullet journal, dang, look at her, some old notebooks, my old creativity journal, clipboards, sketchbooks, and that kind of thing. Let's put you back. And yeah, so that's basically how I house all of my stationery, all its different types. If you'd like a part 2 of this video where I go into more depth, or if you want a video where I go through my old sketchbooks and show you guys a tour of that, if any of that sounds interesting to you, just comment that down below. Overall, a couple things that I'd give you for tips if you're trying to find ways to organize your stationery is number 1, don't focus on the aesthetic, because personally, I just try to get everything out of the way, and if my desk is clear, that makes me a lot better at being productive than if my desk is littered with fancy acrylic boxes and things like that. Second, order things in importance. So the things that I locate most often are the closest to me, like on my desk or the top of my art cart, and the things that I don't touch more often are farther away. That way you don't have to go searching if you just want to use a simple pen. And 3, make use of vertical storage. I know everyone says this, especially if you have a small apartment or something, but the reason that I use my art cart and my desk is because it takes up less square footage but can still hold a lot of different things. So I hope these tips helped you if you're also looking for a way to organize your stationery, or if you're just interested in seeing my desk where I create and how I organize all of my things. If you haven't already, don't forget to go down and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more bullet journal, productivity, stationery content from me, really all the things. I do a lot on my channel. And if you missed it, don't forget to check out this video on the screen where I set up my bullet journal for September and talk to you guys about dealing with the dreadful art block.